Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another exciting podcast this year in video as we ramp up for the 2024 Digital Marketing Strategies Conference. On today's podcast, we have Steve Roessler. He's the Chief Evangelist Officer for DriveCentric. Let me hear an amen, Steve, because
Amen, brother. Let's go.
let's go. I have been hearing so much great news about DriveCentric. Some of our shared clients are really pumped up with new features, new integrations, new use cases for DriveCentric. So before we get into today's conversation about a brand new platform that you announced at NADA, tell us just what's the buzz going on at the company? How are things been going? Because it just seems that you're on a huge roll, a momentum swing that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a wild ride. I mean, I go back to when I first joined like 9.5 years ago, and to think we had
Has
35.
it been that long?
It's been that long. It's been that long. And I mean, it's always cool to see articles. I mean, this is my third startup, but just to get a startup going to where we're at today, it really is remarkable. And a lot of people still don't know us, but yeah, I started with 35 rooftops. We're now at 1,600, and we've just gotten some really good customers that really help catapult our growth. And we develop this technology. We promote ourselves as a tech company first and foremost, just happen to be in the CRM space. But the buzz right now, there's several different things, but artificial intelligence, as you know, at NADA, that was like the big buzz. What's interesting though, and it's kind of we've always talked AI, at least from our company, and I think the big challenge for a lot of people is how to use artificial intelligence at the store.
That's right.
Do people have to be worried about their jobs and things of that nature? So we've been talking that message for at least 6 years, and we've got good studies. It doesn't say get rid of people per se. It's like changing the philosophy, like a BDC, for example, transforming that mentality to an engagement center.
That's
If
right.
AI goes out there and creates all this engagement, I need people to be staffed to respond to customers. And that's the message we've been talking about, how to do that. But yeah, definitely at NADA, it's great to see that some of these messages are coming to light. I think dealerships are more open to AI than they've been over the years. And everybody's got to do more with less. I mean, let's be honest. That's just the way it is. But we did get the Ford direct contract, so that's really nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so a lot of Ford stores are starting to hear about us through the reps at Ford. So I mean, those are the two big things that we go out there, and this new product AIM that we're going out there talking about, leveraging AI within the database. It's probably the hottest topic, especially around AI today within Drive.
Steve, one of your newest clients is a shared client of us, the Morgan Auto Group. They moved all of their stores over the DriveCentric. And, Tom Moore made a comment to me. He said, other CRMs were built as a lead follow-up, like a third-party classified lead follow-up system. And they really haven't changed that architecture. And he said, Drive is set up differently. It's really set up to a modern engagement conversation. And, honestly, I never thought of it that way. But with 1,600 dealers, right, there's a huge market for growth still ahead for DriveCentric. So for a general manager who's using one of the other automotive CRM companies, if there is one key distinction that you think of that resonates with general managers comparing whether it's eLead or VIN or Socket, I mean, these are all names. There's only, a handful now that really represent the majority.
Right.
How would you very succinctly tell a dealer why DriveCentric's architecture or mindset is very different?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I mean, like, here's what I always teach in my classes or on my demos. CRMs, as you know, and I mean, look, I'm dating myself where I use Hack and Goldmine. Do you remember those things when they
Yes,
were
yes.
hardware on your computer? You needed just a computer to run it. Okay. I mean, that's just how old I am. But all CRMs, if you go research it, it's a database platform. So the fact of the matter is, as the internet has grown and, you know, customers are more intelligent now, they could do more research right there at their fingertips. I don't need a database tool. And that's what managers are doing. GMs are managing the typical data. Did you make 100 phone calls and 50 emails a day?
Right.
That's why your engagement rate is 30, 35%, Mr. GM. And you get paid by customers talking to your store. And that's, if I could ask a general manager, how many customers are talking to you in the digital showroom? The digital showroom, Brian, because we're an engagement platform, not a database platform, database is just secondary to a customer talking to my store.
That's
If I
right.
ask the general manager, how many customers are in your digital showroom today? That's a customer that's texting me, replying to my video, replying to AI, replying to, you know, all these forms of communication we have now digitally. How many customers are talking to your store? And I bet you any money, if I ask a general manager, if you had 100 customers talking to your store, how many opportunities do you have? The answer is 100.
Right.
So if you don't know that new KPI, you better get on it. And because the average customer is buying a car 70% of the time within 4 days. Now, if you go out to 10 days, it goes, you know, maybe 82%. So it's speed
Right.
to engagement. And that's why we promote ourselves as an engagement platform first, not a database. By the time you research the data, you already lost that opportunity.
You know, Steve, I'm glad you explained it that way, because what this new product AIM that we're going to talk about today fills a gap, because what you said is how many people are engaging with your digital showroom, and a dealer may be saying, Brian, it should be a lot more, but what am I supposed to do when my people are with customers? What am I supposed to do with high turnover? What am I supposed to do with orphaned customers that were assigned to a salesperson, and you know, the new salesperson has no relationship, they don't have context, and maybe they're not investing the time? How do I motivate my salespeople to go back and do those touch base phone calls? And the truth is, um, it's like a gerbil wheel. It's exhausting. Dealers are trying to do this. And one of the cool things about this new product is a trained AI platform that can go through every conversation that was ever in Drive,
Mhm.
get to know the customer, start to reach out through common use case workflows, um, and to start the conversation for the salespeople. I think this is really a breakthrough. When dealers see it in action, I think they're going to be impressed. It's like, man, I don't think I have lazy people. I have burnt out people. They're just tired of chasing ghosts. They're tired of making phone calls that no one picks up. They're tired of sending out 20 emails. If you could make it fun again, if you could really get some of this monotonous work off their plate, they'll engage, they'll make more money, they're happier. So, Steve, with that setup,
Mhm.
let's talk about the Augmented Intelligence Marketing, or AIM. What is it, and why is this a game changer for dealers who are trying to do more with their existing staff?
Yeah, well, I think here's the root of the problem. I think what salespeople want to do. Let's just be straight up. What do salespeople want to do? They want to sell cars. Right now, they are just in what I call do the task mode. And so, like, for example, if we're trying to do simple things like, you know, I'm sure that every dealer on this call will say, well, we need to do a household update. We should be saying happy birthday. We should be doing anniversaries. We should be checking in 3 months, let's go on a lease. But you know what? If you go look inside your current CRM, the conversations on how you set up that customer to your store is going to be relevant, whether that conversation could lead into an opportunity. And that's what we're not doing. So a perfect example is, like, just take something as easy. I don't care if it's a birthday or anniversary. What does that conversation look like? I basically would say, happy birthday, Brian. Hope you have a great day.
We're
Right?
thinking of you.
Yeah, we're thinking of you. Come on. And you know, the customer says, thank you very much. That's a transactional like activity that I just did that does nothing to brand the store for a future opportunity.
Or
What
update the database so that it can be better activated by marketing platforms, CDPs, right? I mean,
yeah,
any action should serve a business purpose.
correct. Well, and your database, I mean, we go back, I know we were talking before this, but 3% of the database is in the market at any given point. NADA will say that. So what do we do to really target those customers, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, 3 months, all the things I covered? The thing that our AIM will do, and it stands for Augmented Intelligence Marketing. What it's doing is reading those conversations, like you said, will piece together a conversation to the customer. So one I just read earlier today was, it said, hey, just want to wish you a happy birthday, Brian. How are your 10 grandkids doing? You know, I'm sure you're busy running around. I hope your car is doing a good job, you know, going from one grandbaby to another, something like that. The customer replies back, we are on our 12th grandbaby.
Wow.
You know, and that conversation all of a sudden leads into an opportunity. But the customers are now talking back to the store about their personal life, kind of opening up, and you never know. And the AI continues that conversation versus a salesperson. When the AI understands that an opportunity is coming, it'll generate now a lead in DriveCentric. And we call that, it's going to be a campaign lead. So I won't mess with the internet, but it'll come in as a lead for salespeople to follow up. The AI will actually program her own follow-up as well. So let's say the customer says, hey, I'm not ready to buy a car. Maybe this summer, can you call me in 3 months? The AI will schedule its own follow-up so salespeople don't have to. So there's a lot of, I mean, I could get more and more into it, but the bottom line is we are taking your database, creating a new conversation that is personalized. Think of it as a VIP. How does we have these VIPs, you know, let's say, you know, areas in the dealership, but does a customer feel like a VIP? Probably not the way we talk.
You know, and Steve, what we're talking about is filling gaps in the sales process, filling gaps in our retention strategy. But I'm thinking about something else only because our shared client that I'm working on, this big CDP project, what's going to be interesting is when the CDP knows an existing customer is back on the website, but didn't fill out a form. What I'm seeing, what AIM could do, the CDP can send notification into DriveCentric. Hey, Brian Pash is out shopping. Execute an AIM workflow. And that AIM workflow could just be, hey, hey, this is Brian over at, you know, Pash Ford, and we're just checking in our customers. Has anything changed in your mobility needs? Because we're running some great specials.
Right.
I mean, think about that you get a signal that an existing customer is back shopping. You send them out a friendly reminder. The salesperson doesn't have to chase. AIM can engage and, hey, well, you know, kind of funny, but you know, I'm out looking for a new vehicle. We just had another baby. Great, love to help you. I mean,
Exactly.
This is the missing piece. I never really thought about it because the first time I'm really hearing about AIM is this is what the CDP needs, and a personalized communication partner
Correct.
that can take a consumer intent signal, follow it up, because we know darn well it could overwhelm the salespeople, especially at a busy store where there could be in any week a few hundred existing customers back on the website. I'd love to see AIM tee up a friendly, hey, has anything changed?
Right.
Not like, hey, by the way, we saw you're shopping on the website. A little too creepy. I would just like to do like a household update workflow.
Yeah, it actually, I didn't mention that, but we have a tool called the hit list where we are tracking customers on the website. So that is a targeted conversation because yeah, I mean it's hard for a salesperson not to be creepy, right? You know, I'm just teaching people how to go on social media and not say, hey, I see you have 3 kids. You know, I
Right.
mean, Those are the things. So how do you approach that customer and have a conversation without being creepy? And it's an art when it comes to sales. And I always go back to salespeople want to sell cars, but the AI, and I should have given you this analogy because I think this is really cool. And I don't know the study. I would have to find the study again. But you know, the way we want to leverage artificial intelligence is with humans, and that's why it's this augmented piece. So in the medical industry, you know, doctors can detect cancer. I want to say it was 96, 97% of the time. AI can actually go out there and do it like 93, 94% of the time. But combine humans with AI, there's like a 0.5% error rate. You got to take that analogy on how AI is working with humans. It's, you know, AI is doing the heavy lifting that humans don't want to do, or may detect something differently in that study, for example. But the end goal is to get a customer talking to your store. And if we know that's the problem in automotive, we have to embrace what technology is doing to get those conversations going. If people did it like what Joe Verdi did way back in the day, we would need AI.
Right, right. So Steve, for existing customers or people who are on another platform, I think it's important to make one differentiation. I'm going to guess what the answer is, but so DriveCentric as an engagement platform, as leads come in, has AI to help dealers follow up. But AIM is really going into the total database and
Correct.
saying, hey, people who have a lease coming up or a high interest loan, or they haven't been communicating with the dealership in a while. It's their purchase anniversary. So it's really doing data mining and using the AI to, in a sense, cultivate farm opportunities, serve them up to the salespeople, while at the same time, those salespeople are provided best-in-class engagement tools to help with current opportunities or people who come on the website that are existing customers. So this is really that 1-2 punch to maximize the connection rate of any customer who could be in the market right now.
Absolutely. I mean, like, look, in any business, I'm sure, I mean, Brian, with your business, with our business at Drive, we have dealerships in our CRM that we call on.
Yeah.
Why would I have like one of my sales guys go out there, open up, like go to Google, find up some dealerships and go cold call? There's an existing database and it just makes sense. I mean, I love sales in general, but everybody in DriveCentric's CRM that we use knows DriveCentric. They've gotten emails, they've gotten phone calls, they've gotten text messages, they've seen my hair, whatever. All right. But that's what's in the dealership's database. They know that dealership. It's a warm lead. We're
right.
generating warm leads into hot leads through conversational commerce. That's how the dealerships has to think about it. Dealerships practice transactional business. And what that basically means for everybody that's watching this is I'm here to sell a car today, not for the future.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, because you know, I mean, this was many years ago. I saw a Google presentation. I think the average customer was buying a car 17 times in a lifetime. So they got car number 9. I'm just going to forget about car number 10 until I get that up bus coming in or that internet coming in. I got to wait. But I'm not cultivating my business for the future. And that's just so unfortunate in this industry that we don't think about, that we don't want those customers or family members. I mean, it could be a gold mine for the average salesperson. So
Right.
that's what this AIM is doing.
And what I'm also seeing, because not every dealer is going to be investing in a CDP, here's what I also think about AIM. I'm giving you some product ideas now.
I love it. Share it.
You know, dealers need to understand the benefit of these external signals. Companies like TransUnion and others working with DriveCentric can also update records that they know have had a life change event, right? Someone who's moved, someone who maybe has had a new child. There's companies that provide, hey, Steve's out shopping for baby strollers. Well, that may be a great time to do those family status checks, but they didn't have the framework, right? They didn't have a framework that would do the work.
Mhm.
That's where I see AIM. In the future, DriveCentric could be offering data partnerships, data enhancement partnerships with credit bureaus to say, look, hey, not only can AIM start conversations, but we only can see what we see in Drive. If we now partner with third-party sources, I can get some other signals. I can get, changes in marital status, changes in family status, move signals, and feed them into AIM to reach out to customers. I think that is going to be so smart in the future, is helping dealers have relevant conversations with their customers and have that record. That's just the key. Not in someone's cell phone that isn't being recorded, but have that record in Drive so that it builds a smarter communication channel. What do you think about that? This idea of using external data even to trigger AIM workflows?
I would love to think that if it's doable, I mean, yeah, we would entertain something like that. Again, I know this is a new concept for everybody. So, but how we would get those external data points in Drive so it could read it, that's going to be the how it would happen is what I would
Right.
guess. I think more importantly, the way I look at what we're doing is salespeople typically don't put in good notes right now about their customer. I think potentially because I know like if obviously there's a household update and things like that, if salespeople now put in notes and they know that they have an assistant working for them on the data, I would hope that would encourage salespeople to actually
Mm.
use the CRM the way it's intended to.
Wow. I
So
didn't think about that. Right. If you had really a roll up note taker or
mhm.
a smart tool that can help you develop smarter conversations each time, like if you knew that the AI would remind you about things that you forgot about, as long as you put them in the notes, that's an interesting motivational piece. I think that's going to be training, right, Steve?
Well,
Um,
yeah, I think you got to show, okay, why is this important to me as a salesperson? I mean, like, look, I've been doing CRM stuff for a very long time. And look, when I go into my CRM, I always put in the future note of what I'm going to be doing with whatever customer in whatever industry I was in. But salespeople should put in notes. They have 3 kids. This is where they went to high school, where they went to college, what they do for a living, whatever. I mean, those would be important things. If I was a car salesperson, I know what I'd be wanting to ask about. So I'm not transactional. Instead of saying, when can he come in? Hey, I know you're in you're a doctor. Hey, is there a day that, we can get you to come in or
your
can I meet?
schedule's freed
Whatever.
up. Yes. What a different feel to, well, listen, we experience it, Steve. You brought up a good point. Just knowing, like, if somebody sends me a note and says, hey Brian, have you been drinking any good Italian wine, completely changes the conversation for, hey Brian, what's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it
Like
it
in my
shows
CRM, because I knew
an
you were in
intentional.
Italy, because I knew you were in Italy, my follow-up would be, how was your Italy trip? That would
Right.
be my task. And then I start the conversation with that. That's what conversational commerce is. When you start off a conversation that has nothing to do with the other person and it's just a transactional, that's why we don't get as much good communication. You got to start the communication with a warm touch. And the warm touch is, what have you been doing lately? How was Italy? Whatever it may be. Just a little piece of the puzzle there, what we're talking about.
Steve, you mentioned engagement rates, and when people use, let's just say, old methodologies of banging through tasks and remember that we're a result of the trainers also, like, hey, you got to make 8 calls in the first week and hound the hell out of people. Yeah, no one wants 8 calls, by the way, if they didn't pick up the first 5 or message you. Another 8 or 10 calls probably doesn't help your case. But you mentioned to me as we were talking before the recording started, just about the high engagement rate that Drive is seeing. What type of benchmark could you share when dealers use DriveCentric's core engagement tools and then consider adding AIM now to really do this database workflow engagement?
Mhm.
What type of engagement rates are you seeing compared to what it's like with a traditional CRM.
Yeah. Well, again, using AI, personalized video, texting, emails, phone calls. What we've done, we did a study in the fourth quarter, looked at 100 stores with just some had a BDC, some were single point of contact all the way through. The average engagement was about 70%. And that's
Wow.
what we always go out there and talk. I've got the study where, I mean, we took a spreadsheet, did the average, yada, yada, and put it out there. But what was really interesting was 48% of the initial engagement came from the artificial intelligence. That means 20%, 21% came from human touches. So, but if you look at the customer, the Detroit Trading Company came out with a study kind of post-COVID that, we got to get engagement in the first 5 minutes. The OEMs before COVID, you say, well, you got 15 to 30 minutes for that quality response. It's a speed game today more than ever. So if you're not getting two-way communication at 5 minutes, it just affects your closing rate. So that's what we go out there and do is the engagement usually from the AI is happening within the first 2 to 3, 4 or 5 minutes. And then salespeople are backing up. Instead of them texting and emailing, they're making a phone call and sending a video. So, but that's the engagement rate we see statistically at Drive is 70%. Now, the aim is more about following up with customers like that are dead. It's not the opportunities on the front side. So
No,
it's
no,
getting
it's really farming your database to find who's back in market. And then I guess if the product is really good, does it actually raise people from the dead? I mean, Steve, as
yeah.
the chief evangelist officer, are you actually doing Easter miracles at DriveCentric? I want to know. Give
That's
us
right.
the
We're moving
inside scoop.
stones, baby. We're moving stone.
Yeah.
Lazarus is coming.
All right.
But yeah, no, but what's interesting, I did say finished up this part though on the engagement rate. When salespeople drop the ball, we have this thing called long-term follow-up with the AI. And what it's doing is it's looking and monitoring, is anything happening in the database with that customer, meaning an outgoing call, outgoing email, text, whatever, or anything incoming. And if the customer's not been reached out to in a certain period of time, usually it's like 3 days, the AI will get re-engagement or fire out to kind of help save that deal.
Right.
Re-engagement 20% of the time, that equal to 4% deals delivered. So what is that telling? Now, most of our dealerships will usually start their process, maybe about a 14-day process for humans and let AI take over. So, and if you think about what I said, if 82% of the customers are buying a car in, let's say, 10 days or less, the scraps are what the AI is picking up and teeing back up because salespeople aren't working them anymore at that point. Focus your humans where they're buying cars. But so yeah, it is reviving customers. It's like we had a vision always to build kind of like a zombie pipeline. We're in the zombie apocalypse, right? So if a dead customer's out there for whatever reason, credit score, whatever, it's even targeting those customers as well, potentially revive them and get them back talking to the store. You just never know.
Right.
It's
Well,
an unfiltered approach.
hmm,
Unfiltered versus a filtered approach. And that's the one thing, Brian, as we've been going through and teaching people about AIM, people want to say, I want to target these customers. I want to target these customers. And I'm like, but you could do that with an e-blast. You could do that with other means. This is conversational commerce. You've got to think differently.
that's
We don't,
right.
I mean, you could still do that by other means, but that's not what this AIM product is doing. It's doing it in understanding the timing of that customer to touch them.
Yeah, it's true one-to-one marketing that we could never do manually. We're not taking uh, a, a database, trying to figure out who's in market, and then writing, you know, 500 personalized emails. It's such a time saver, and more importantly, I think if dealers really were honest,
Mhm.
um, there are seasons where the sales process is tight, and there's seasons where the sales process is weak. There are agents that really care about retention and customer loyalty, and there's other agents that are looking for the quick spin because they're going to be out of the dealership another 3 or 4 months. What the dealer needs is that safety net of engagement consistently throughout the year. Um, to deal with the realities of human nature, employee turnover, and fickleness of customers. Even, customers who say they're not in market, but they're back on the website. Drive is
Right.
going to see that and re-engage where a salesperson might like, nah, they told me they're out of the market. I'm not going to waste my time. Oh, okay. We'll
Yeah.
we'll key that back into an opportunity. Steve, this is one of the reasons why I believe that Drive has been on such a steep acceleration curve is because you've been talking about AI before most. You've been working on the integrations. You've been working on some really cool special use cases. So if a dealer who is listening to today's podcast and says, you know what, I get it. Maybe I'm using some outdated tools and framework. I'm not really engaging. I really bought a task management system. What's the best way for them to get a demo?
Oh, you can reach out to me. We got a great sales team. It used to be just me for, a number of years, but now we got a great sales team. But they can always reach out to just me in general, whether it's social. I'm all over on social, but if you want to reach out to Steve at DriveCentric.com or Steve at DriveCentric.com, or they could, send me a text. But they can hit me up on all the different social media channels and we'll make sure we take care of you. But, Brian, the one thing that we're really big about is this is and I don't want to have this be negative to everybody, but it's a culture change.
Yep.
When you take on a CRM change, you better do something different. Don't change a CRM to change the color of your software. All right. You have to say, I better do something drastic that's going to help me sell cars. If you don't know your engagement rate, if you can't track your digital showroom, if you're not sending video, if you're not leveraging AI, you could piece all these things together and make up DriveCentric. But I think managers want one Chrome browser available.
Yep.
That's why these other CRMs are, and again, this isn't me bashing, but they were built over 20 years ago.
Right.
And again, I hope they wouldn't hire a general manager, wouldn't hire somebody with a Nokia phone. That's when we were using Nokia phones.
Right.
So I
It's
get
been
on
that
an
long.
iPhone 15, will you? I mean, that's what your people are using, So it's the times have changed, the customers has changed, and we got to think engagement is the number one priority for dealers to succeed.
Love it. I love it. Well, Steve, I can't really emphasize that point any more than you have today because, I've been talking about conversational commerce for years, and Drive will be at the upcoming Digital Marketing Strategies Conference, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And at this conference, we're really going to be focusing on the new breakthrough technologies that are helping dealers have better communication with their customers, better marketing campaigns. We're going to be talking about identity and CDPs and AI-driven communication. What I love about today's conversation is you filled in a piece of the strategy that I know we need at Morgan. And so I'm going to push that, with your executive team, with the Morgan executive team to see what it would be like when not only is AIM data mining within DriveCentric, but what happens if we get some signals in the CDP from TransUnion, from the New Star acquisition, from website activity that can give you some additional signals to trigger AIM workflows? I think that's going to be amazing. For dealers who've never been to one of our conferences, you should know that the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference is like the Davos of automotive digital marketing leaders, tech, and innovation. So make sure you go to digitalmarketingstrategies.org and get your tickets. And if you're a DriveCentric customer, you should know they have discounts. And
Hey,
come on, they do. They have a
I'll
discount
promote that,
code.
baby.
That's it. So come and see Steve in action at the show. We are going to be really pushing the industry forward and higher to be more efficient, more profitable, and really to elevate the customer experience. Steve, this is what is really the core benefit of DriveCentric. It's a better customer experience. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I get rid of your templates and just talk to the customer. I mean, just humanize it. It's not hard. I mean, talk to your customers like they're your friends. I don't send a template to my friends. I talk.
Yes. Amen. to that. You've heard it, the Chief Evangelist Officer from DriveCentric, Steve Roessler. Thanks so much for being on the show. I look forward to hanging out with you in Austin, Texas at DMSC. And to all our viewers today, I want you to remember that there are hundreds of interviews with industry leaders on my podcast channel. So just search for the Brian Pash Podcast, and you'll have a chance to listen to some other great interviews from leaders just like Steve. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for listening. If you're in the car, driving between stores, and we'll see you soon in Austin, Texas at DMSC.
It's a barbecue, baby.
That's it.